Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank you for attending this session, What Women Want, the Female Customer's Perspective on Residential Sales. I would like to ask that you put your cell phones on mute or turn your ringers off so that we don't get interrupted. My name is Don McGee. I am a dealer from Texas with a company called Hairdresser, doing work primarily in Mexico and focused mostly on brackish water desalination. And I'm fortunate today to be able to introduce to you Jennifer Smith. Jennifer is with Modi Vitality, and she's going to be sharing perspectives that may be a little bit foreign to those of us in a male-dominated industry. So we're looking forward to hear from her. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Jennifer Smith.
Thank you, Don. Okay, today what I'm going to talk about is what women want. And the reason that I chose this, well, first I want to thank all of you. I know you guys are really busy and it's the first show of the day and you want to get on with your day, but thank you so much for taking the time out to join us. Why did I choose this topic? Well, you know, they say men and women are from different planets, so, and we are usually, you know, I wanted to show a female perspective of when you're in the home. There are little things that might cost big sales. Like I said, there's predominantly males that are out there selling. Now, please understand, I'm not going to do the male bashing or anything like that. There's a lot of females here too, and you can learn a lot from little things that we make mistakes while we're in the home. Now, where did I do my research? Well, I've been a sales professional. I actually had a little territory up in Michigan, and I was out in the farmland and, you know, did quite a bit of sales myself. And I'm a sales trainer of sales professionals. That's what Modi Vitality does. We're a national training and consulting company. So I have worked with many men and females going into homes and picked up on little mistakes or little flaws that they did that I could see a woman standing there cringing over them. And I have been a consumer. I have had in-home sales. I've had carpeting, windows, additions on the house, water treatment before I got into the industry. I've had a little bit of it all. And Facebook. I went ahead and I asked all my girlfriends from high school and all my cheerleader moms and all my Girl Scout moms, and I said, what is it that you like or don't like about men coming into the home? And they gave me a lot of answers. Start off here. Woman's status does not limit her responsibilities. Let me tell you a little bit about us. Some of us are single. We're single. A lot of times we have a career. We're really busy because we're the one-woman show that's running the household, or married. I had one time that when I had first got married, we were looking for windows, I think. And I actually had people telling me that we couldn't have anybody come into the house unless both of us were there. And I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. And moms, oh my gosh, moms, we go, we go, we go. But ultimately, we're usually the decision makers, because what they say is, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. So, my husband won't be home. Again, don't assume that there's a mister in the home. This was one of our Facebooks here, and she's a little bitter about the fact that she's single, but this was one of the Facebooks, was that, you know, just because I'm a female doesn't mean I have a husband in the home, doesn't mean that I don't know anything. You know, they're single out there. Separate shifts. Like I said, I had people coming in, and when they were calling up, or I was calling for windows, they actually told me there was a Michigan state law that we had to have both the husband and wife home. We worked separate shifts. We weren't able to do that. And come on, guys, we're in the 21st century. These are actual names that I took from one of our clients. And we have Lisa and Lori and Beth and Megan. So, in Michigan, we have Ann Arbor. Okay, preparation. what to wear. Make sure you have a clean shirt, pants. I have had so many times where, you know, and especially you're crawling in crawl spaces, things like that. I completely get that. But if you're in a crawl space in one house and you're going over to the next house, then you're going to have this lady thinking, oh my gosh, I just washed my carpets, and you're going to be walking on my dirty carpets. Make sure you're clean shaven. Okay, again, I don't mean to bash, but, you know, women pay attention to detail, and if you have that funny little hair that's kind of like sticking out, that's all we look at. You can be talking. We have this funny little hair that's just kind of talking to us and not saying anything except for trim me. Wear matching socks. Okay, what color socks do you have on today? Are they matching? Good job. Matching socks? Okay. How many are wearing holy socks, your Sunday socks? Anybody? Oh, good, good. Use the restroom before you go. I went into a home one time, and this lady she was just so upset. The cable guy had just left, and apparently he used her restroom, and he was in there for about 20 minutes, and the whole house smelled. She about died, and she's just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know what to do or what to say. So she was pretty upset about that. And watch what you eat. I mean, guys, I know you guys will kind of high-five each other when the really good one rip. We don't so much care for it. Okay, try not to smoke. I'm a complete advocate about no smoking, American Cancer Society, all that stuff. If you smoke, that's your choice. But don't try to cover it up with Old Spice because you just smell like smelly, smoky Old Spice, and it's gross. So, we actually had a customer up in Michigan that was really upset because one of the service guys came in, and he was excellent what he did, but we had a lot of complaints about the fact that he smelled a lot like smoke. So really, if you smoke, try to air out a little bit. Make sure you have a clean test kit and the supplies. If you're taking in a bucket, make sure you have a clean bucket. And the reason why is when women see these dirty things coming in, they're just, you know, they don't want it on their floors, stuff like that. That was actually one of the #1 complaints that I heard from women. Get to know the girl next door. Okay, big controversy. Do I call or do I not call to confirm? Yes, call to confirm. Introduce yourself, especially if it's a house lead, somebody that's called into the office and said, hey, you know, I want to set up an appointment. That way, hey, you know what, this is John from ABC Water Company, and I just wanted to let you know I'm the one that's going to be coming out and testing your water for you and giving you some different options. And, you know, I'll be swinging by around 11:30. Is that okay? Never ask, you know, I have you for 11:30, so is that a good time for you? Just let her know you're going to be swinging by around that time. And not only that, don't give the time slot. That is something that's really frustrating for women, is when you have the cable guy is 4 hours. Usually in water treatment, it's a half-hour time slot. But if you're going to try to be as close to the time that you tell them, because they're planning other things for the day usually. Yes?
Is it best to call that day or the day before?
The question was, is it best to call that day or the day before? I am going to say the day before. Reason for that is if you call her up and you say, hey, you know what, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to stop by tomorrow around 11 o'clock and, you know, just, you know, I'll be testing your water, giving you options. If she says, oh my gosh, I totally forgot, then you can go ahead and reschedule. Or she may say, you know what, that sounds good, try to make it as close to 11 because at 12:30 I have to be someplace else. What that does is that tells you, okay, I only have an hour of her time. So local customers in the area. This is good for not only women, but for everybody. If you know of somebody that's a couple streets over, stop in at their house beforehand. This is great. If you were to call them up and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to be in the area, and I'm going to, you know, do you mind if I stop by and, you know, check your water, make sure everything's working okay. And then you're over at Sally's house, you go over to Susie's house and say, oh, I was just over at Sally's house. Do you know her? I've sold more than one system where I said, oh, well, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Jones over there, they have a Kinetico. I used to sell Kinetico. And so, really, and honestly, she says, I want whatever they have. She had to keep up with the Joneses. So, arrival time. Be as close to on time as possible. Don't show up early. The reason why, I used to work full time, and then I'd get home. I had 4 little ones at home. I literally had from 5:30 to 6 o'clock, usually anything that, if I had somebody coming in the house, it'd be at 6 o'clock. And at that time, I'm 5:30 to 6, I'm cooking dinner, I'm washing dishes, throwing them in, making sure the house is clean. I only have every second of that 30 minutes. So try to be on time. If it looks like you're going to run late, let her know, especially if you're going to be more than 5 minutes late. Then that way, again, you'll get a feel. If she has something else going on, then you can get a feel for that. Parking your chariot. I went on a sales appointment once, somebody that was training. It was pouring down rain. We parked in front of the garage. Garage door was closed. Parked in front of the garage and went in, and then about 5 minutes later, some lady comes in drenched, and she was ticked. Her husband's like, why did you park in the garage? She called that guy some really nasty names and said he parked it, so I couldn't get into the garage, and she threw a fit. We had her lost the rest of the night. She was so mad the rest of the night. So just keep, especially if you have an older car, make sure you're not parking in the driveway where oil's going to leak. Try to make sure you're not parking behind people. I actually had a carpet person come in, and she parked behind me, and I told her I only have 15 minutes. And she stayed behind me for the next hour and a half. And I was not very happy. And no, I didn't buy carpet from her. The greeting. Don't hug. A shake, a nice handshake. Usually, some people say, is it a firm handshake? Is it a gentle handshake? Kind of get a feel. Let her take the lead. Not too hard, not too rough. I've had men shake my hand, and I swear they were going to break my hand. We are kind of delicate guys. Remove your shoes or wear booties. This is a huge thing for women. They may say, don't worry about it, but try to remove your shoes. This is where the Sunday socks come in, or the matching socks. Actually, we've been on sales appointments, and one blue and one black, and that drives women crazy. Get in touch with your feminine side. Okay. Don't be afraid to go into a beauty salon and ask the women there or the men, what is the #1 reason that women complain about their water? Ask them that. There are 2 different things. A, you'll find out about what women complain about their water with their hair and things like that. And B, you could possibly get a relationship with that hairdresser. And the reason why is women get, who knows, any of you, Malibu treatments? Anybody? Okay. Malibu treatment is when you have a lot of iron in your water, and what it does is the iron starts to build up. If you get blonde highlights or blonde, then you turn redhead. So a lot of hairstylists don't like that because the lady walks out blonde and 2 weeks later she's a redhead. That's really bad advertising for the hairdresser. And it's also hard for them they have to go ahead with the Malibu treatment, strip the minerals from the hair, and then do whatever else. So talk to them and possibly build a relationship. Get to know some of the female lingo. I mean, just yesterday, Kelly was asking me, he says, yeah, I was talking to this lady and she's all excited because she got some new purse that starts with a C. I'm like, Coach? Yeah, that one. So if you can get on the same level, like you see the Coach purse, for one, it's expensive, so that means she has a couple bucks or a sugar daddy. But kind of keep an eye, and then, oh yeah, a friend of mine just got one of those purses. Those are really cool. Okay, Cassandra Lowe, I love her. What don't you like? No BS or games. Whisper sweet somethings. Tell us what's going to go on. We are planners. If you notice, they always have the mom's planners. That's what they sell. We're planners. Let us know when you come in the house. that you're going to be doing a plumbing assessment, that you're going to test the water, and I'm going to present your options. Those are the 3 different things we're going to do when we're in the house. Ask her, how are we on time? Because if you're in there for half an hour and all of a sudden she says, I got to run in 5 minutes, and you're still doing the plumbing assessment, which you shouldn't be doing the plumbing assessment still, but at least it gives you an idea about how much time she has. Guys, our eyes are up here. I've actually had women that have said, oh my gosh, this guy stared at my chest the whole time that he was in the house. Their eyes are up here. Don't call them honey, sweetie, baby doll. We have names. You know, it's just uncomfortable. Okay. When you do the plumbing assessment, I'm sure most of you do plumbing assessments, if you're going down in the basement or in a closet, you have to remember, you're going into a private area. Sometimes the basement, my basement, is where I just throw everything. Somebody's coming over, it's going down on the shelf in the basement. And then all of a sudden, we need to go in the basement. Oh my gosh. You know, so just kind of keep that in mind, that she might be a little uncomfortable about you going in there. Don't hover over. Don't get too close. I mean, that kind of personal space, it gets uncomfortable. Ask questions, and guys, us women do it too. Listen to the answers that they're giving. So what kind of problems are you having with your water? What are your concerns about your water? If she starts talking about, well, my hair is really dry and things like that, listen to those problems and then address them later when you're actually doing the demo and the testing and stuff. Address those later, but listen and pay attention. And educate without belittling. That was something that, another Facebook, I had a lot of ladies that were saying, you know, a lot of times sales guys will come in and just really talk down to a woman. Okay, when you're doing the water test, usually, most of you probably have the big demo kit or the test kit. Bring a white towel. Carry it on the outside of your test kit. And go ahead, lay it down on the counter, and then lay your test kit down there. Reason why, you have that thing in your trunk, you take it out, you set it on the ground. You come in, you go to take off your shoes, you set it on the floor. And then you set it on her kitchen counter. And she's going to be cutting up chicken later. And she's not real happy about that. And then also, when you're doing the testing, one of the big things that I see a big mistake that a lot of sales professionals do is when they're doing the testing, especially like the iron, they mix everything up and they set it directly on the counter. I've actually seen them stain. Somebody with new granite counters doesn't know if it's going to eat away at the granite or what it's going to do. So make sure you have a paper towel or a regular towel down. Educate them. Don't belittle, but educate. Talk about what a water softener does. Don't talk in layman's terms. TDS, RO, go back to when you first got into the industry. Did you know what TDS was? Did you know what an RO was? Talk so that they understand what you're saying. And do a little bit of the water softening 101. What I do is we have a mini that we carry around, and we'll talk about, this is how it works. Does the ion exchange? Hard water comes in, soft water comes out, then it has to clean itself at night. So just to educate, very basic. If she has more questions, she'll ask the questions. And definitely talk about the benefits of soft water, how it's going to be for your hair, your skin, things like that. Laundry detergent. How many of you do the soap demo? Good. If you don't do the soap demo, do the soap demo. Because where she sees that she's going to save on shampoo and laundry soap and things like that, that's going to be huge for her. Be honest. When I first got into the industry, or just before I got into the industry, I had 3 different water softening companies that came out, and 2 out of those 3 ended up telling me that I needed a new softener. The bypass was turned. The one person that did tell me that it was just turned, he went ahead and regenerated the system for me, and when he did that, he sat and told me how a water softener worked. That was great. And I actually referred him many times after I I wasn't doing sales in that area anymore, I referred him a few times because he was honest. Okay, the closing. Make sure you ask her if she has any questions. Give her options. We're bargain shoppers. We want to know our different choices. If you have a good, better, best, definitely present good, better, best. Don't use scare tactics. I've actually seen sales people, not professionals, people that have told women that if they don't use a dechlorinator, that they're going to die, all their kids are going to die of cancer because of the chlorine in the water. Don't do that. And make sure you clean up after yourself, please. Nothing like having to go and pick up the little packets and stuff afterwards, or water that you've splashed all over the place. And ask for a second date. And the third date. Okay, when to call. Ask, when do you want me to call back? If you didn't sell, if you did sell, make sure you go ahead and you call them up, make sure everything was working fine. At the install, try to make an appearance. Make her feel like she's the only girl in the world, and she'll really like that. Do a follow-up. Make sure everything's working okay. Explain to her how to change filters if you need to change filters. And every 6 months, check up on her, because she's going to feel like she is your only customer. Chicks talk, good and bad. We all know it. I was told it was, the hens are cackling. Where do we talk? Everywhere. Go to the grocery store. You'll hear, oh man, I had this hairdresser and she was just awful. Then you'll hear somebody else, I love my hairdresser. Here's her number. Any questions?
Another question on the greeting. When you greet her, do you wait for her to extend her hand?
The question is on the greeting. Yeah, it kind of, that's what I've heard. I think nowadays women are fine with go ahead, extend your hand out, and just shake. Sometimes, you know, you can tell those women they're a little taken back, you know, and you'll know not to put your hand out. But for the most part, yeah, definitely put your hand out and shake. Okay, I want to thank everybody so much for coming by. And we are at booth 136. If you want to talk any more about what women want, or we are a national training consulting company, we have plenty of classes that we have to offer. Come on over and see us.